we are now into picks and bans, and there's no way YellowStar is getting his hands on that Braum again. Similarly, Fnatic denying the Vladimir. Overall, a power pick, as well as the comfort for Gamsu on the top lane with that Shen.
Yeah, so Vlad not available for Sencux. Where will the rest of the bans go from Fnatic? Looking at what Splyce have played a whole bunch of. I mean, Trashy was saying that Kobbe is the best Lucian in the West, but I don't, or at least in Europe, I don't think that Lucian's worth a ban, despite the high prominence, high praise that Trashy gives over.
Yeah, maybe not the strongest champion since those nerfs coming out. No longer on the permaban status. We'll have to see if Fnatic want to take away Caitlyn here. It's been a very powerful pick overall in the EU LCS. Alongside that Bard, Mikyx, of course, showing his hand on that one a number of occasions. I'd say in 1 or 2 games, pretty much carrying Splyce with some fantastic tempered fates and just consistently excellent timing on the Cosmic Binding follow-ups.
So either Ryze or Azir or both are going to be available, and that is the situation we find ourselves in. Now, does Splyce take away the Azir that Febi has played a whole bunch of? We're going to have to find out later as this draft continues.
Because Olaf is going to be the priority pick here coming in from Splyce, kind of a rising star in terms of pick priority, but it does mean that they've left open Spirit's Nidalee. If you did this last season, when Nidalee was one of the most powerful junglers, this was a death wish. Now, of course, much weaker as we move here into this season, but still a very powerful pick and definitely a comfort pick coming out from Spirit.
And on the other side, that Olaf we saw yesterday from Wunder in the game against Giants, went 2-1-16 on that pick. So it seemed to fit him right down to a T. We know Gamsu as well has played a whole lot of Olaf, so it was a high contested pick when you look at the top lane matchup. Still could transition into the jungle, but I'm not expecting that right now. It depends on the matchup that ends up being locked in. I must admit, I don't know whether I want to see the Kha'Zix from Spirit. It's explosive and has the potential to go off. But Trashy as well was talking about this consistency coming from a jungle, and that's what he really values coming from the jungle right now on 6-11.
Well, consistency for Spirit will be the Nidalee pick as he does finally lock it in here. Ezreal picked up as well, but you talked about potentially having the Olaf as a flex pick. That comfort pick Fizz is up and available for Wunder if they do want to grab it here. Potentially a good way to deal with his Ezreal.
The problem is if you take a Fizz here with an Olaf, you need heavy crowd control coming from somewhere else. Those are both 2 picks that need to stick on targets, and without crowd control to set it up, it makes it difficult. They've got a Nami, but I don't know whether that would be enough if they wanted to go that route for now, at least.
All right, there's a lot of ghosts in the Summoner spell, so I'm not sure what Splyce are going to pick up here to round out this composition, but they've started with a strong core here. You've got the Olaf, the Nami, the Caitlyn. Powerhouse AD carry. Interesting to see Fnatic prioritize the Ezreal over the Caitlyn here, but Kobbe, very lethal on this pick when he gets ahead.
If that Ghost stays, I wonder whether we'll see the likes of a Hecarim comp that we've started seeing.
I wondered
when
we talked about this.
Because, so if it was, so this is purely hypothetical on Summoners.
Okay.
If it was Fizz, it would be Ignite, not Ghost.
True.
And the Ghost is a nod towards Olaf. Also, Summoners don't update until the end of pick and ban phase for us, so we could just be talking completely out of the area that Officio showed off yesterday during how I LCS.
Consistently shows off.
But they don't get the Karma here, which has been a pretty significant pick when it comes to assisting the Hecarim, getting him into fights, that kind of thing.
All right, now everybody has Ghost. I don't trust any of this. I see you, Splyce. But on the opposite side, Fnatic are picking up the Gnar in the top lane for Gamsu. Was a solid pick from yesterday. Got through the laning phase very comfortably.
Yep.
As well as picking up this Karma, a pick that we saw Mithy do very well on, but I'm curious exactly how well YellowStar is going to do with it.
Yeah, we'll track that as we go through the game as well, but that Gnar is going to have the ability to take control of a lot of the inter-melee matchups, so if that Olaf does in fact go top, apart from an Olaf running up and kind of just wailing on you for a long, prolonged amount of time, if you can't get away from him, the Gnar will be able to just whittle him down.
As we wait for these final lock-ins, I think pre-6, Olaf really going to struggle, but Gnar, when he hits Mega Gnar, actually a huge disadvantage in that lane matchup, because Olaf just pops Ragnarok, runs at you, and at that point you do not have the slippery ability to just run out of that one. Of course, final picks coming in from Splyce, though, it is going to be that Elise, as well as the Viktor for Sencux in the mid lane. Yes,
the Ghosts were a lie.
I'm gonna be honest, like, my heart is so split, because on the one hand, as a play-by-play caster, like, Hecarim sounds sweet, like, sounds awesome to cast, like, there's no circumstance where that is not a cool pick. On the other hand, he was so frustrating to watch last season when it was like Cinderhulk smite top lane. So, you know, a little divided on how I feel about it, but they will stick with some classics here, getting that Elise for the jungle, and Fnatic now rounding out their composition with this Azir pick for Febiven.
And you got to look down the line here for Fnatic. Gamsu, Spirit, Febi, Rekkles, all on fairly comfort picks for themselves. Not that they're out of the meta at all. They fit square into what we expect on 6-11. So Fnatic getting a lot of picks that they would value for themselves. After yesterday's games for Splyce, Wunder, of course, will be a fan of that Olaf. We'll see if he can get going in this game. But they have a decent amount of crowd control to get the lockdowns. They got the Nami, the Elise, you got a Viktor gravity field if it locks. But can they get the carries? Can they get onto Rekkles? Can they get past Azir? It's all going to depend on that Wunder ult.
Very good potential to chain the CC together here, but a lot of mobility from Fnatic and good opportunity to control these team fights. Both teams gearing up, getting those final compositions together. We talked yesterday about how Fnatic relying on comfort last week. This time, this comfort looks a little more standard. Not Kha'Zix's comfort. We've got Nidalee, we've got Azir, and a very powerful composition overall coming in on the side from Fnatic. But Splyce got some comfort picks of their own and definitely have some raw power there as well. Yeah,
they do. Fnatic, you've got to watch for the counter engage, though. Really, when in these engages, you've got an Azir, you've got a Gnar. Karma can allow people to adjust position fairly effectively. So if Splyce take a fight that Fnatic are well prepared for, this could, in fact, backfire from Splyce's side. But this is going to be a fun one. It's going to be a very important matchup.
Absolutely. You know the players. You've seen the picks. So head on over to Twitter and tweet at LOL Esports, hashtag SPYWin. You think Splyce can come out on top, or hashtag FNCWin. You think these guys with the comfort picks can bring this one together in our first game here in the second set here on EU LCS 1.
Getting ready, Tsepha. It's going to be good, but we're into a pause. Straight away. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news.
You're like, we're getting ready, and I was like,
yeah,
ready to go.
Deep intake of breath. Was ready. Not for now. We're going to have to, you got to stick
It's kind of them. They're giving us an opportunity. We saw Yamato and Splyce getting ready earlier. Now this is everyone, viewers, people in the crowd, just take a break.
This is Fnatic being like, oh, wait, we forgot to get in the zone as well. So, no, it's looks like Splyce are the ones that are paused for now. You can see.
Going to be a quick client restart coming in for Sencux, so nothing too long here in delay. Just want to make sure everything is well put together before we gear up for some Azir versus Viktor action in the mid lane. Now, looking at the picks that we saw coming in from Champion Select, obviously some pretty solid comfort picks on both sides. Trashy getting this Elise, Spirit on this Nidalee. Do we expect to see the lane swap coming out here?
Well, I mean, it would put Wunder in a tough situation if Olaf ends up in the lane swap. Can't really farm out too effectively. But then we're in that tennis situation where you kind of ping-pong lanes back and forth between each other. So for Fnatic, again, it's Ezreal plus X. Against
X range support.
The thing is, you've got a Caitlyn Nami, which does have a high amount of harass potential when you put the Tidecaller's Blessing on as well. That adds to Caitlyn's damage. So it's not one I'd want to sit in, but at the same time, Ezreal can kind of sit back fairly effectively in a laning phase, and Caitlyn tends not to be able to harass too much. So I wouldn't expect too much action in a 2 versus 2 in that setup without one team making a mistake.
And I feel like maybe Fnatic, it's such a weird spot for Fnatic because they have a very safe bottom lane, but it's definitely not going to be dominant there. But on the other side, if you get Gnar and Olaf in a 1v1, Gnar is just so obnoxious to deal with. And Wunder may be able to outplay that lane, may be able to find some of those opportunities, but pre-6, talk about a tennis match. I mean, it's very one-sided when you're playing with the Gnar. He's just throwing stuff at you, and you are just taking it.
The thing is, early game, though, Gnar doesn't have a massive deterrent for Olaf at, like, level 1, level 2. Until you get all 3 for the Gnar, Olaf can kind of run up to you and just wail on you for a while.
Have to see if that's going to be the case. Pauses are done. Game is ready, ladies and gentlemen. Splyce versus Fnatic, game 1. Teams gearing up and heading out the base. Lots of cheers coming in on the side for Fnatic.
So,
keeping our eyes on that lane swap. Have to wonder exactly how this is going to unfold. Have to wonder if Febiven can hear that guy shout.
I hope not. But what Splyce have kind of committed to, as you can see, their duo lane is hiding topside. This is how you basically guarantee that you are not giving away information that your duo lane is top. You run them straight into the bush top, hide them there, or behind your tower. Either is fine. And now Olaf's shown on the ward. There's no real way of Fnatic discovering. Quite a hype for Fnatic in this game.
I like this. I like this. This is good. Good energy to start off. Ooh, Spirit. All right, 50% Spirit accuracy.
Are we counting? Is that it?
No.
This is going to get very difficult.
I start this way for the first 2 minutes of a game with Skillshot champions, and then immediately give up. There's no way I'm counting them all.
Yeah, as soon as you get down and you start adding third decimal places on it, it just gets.
You're going to be like, see if there's a team fight. Go. And I'll be like, no. I need to see if the spear hit. 100% statistical accuracy.
So Nami Caitlyn did just show on the ward. They know that they were in vision. You can see instant movement on the minimap coming from Spirit and Gamsu. Trashy and Wunder have started on the Krugs. They know that Rekkles is there. There's going to be a fair amount of damage here on Wunder already.
Fearless moving forward. Smite goes down.
Oh, man.
Taking a lot of damage. Wunder potentially in trouble.
Wunder's dead!
Rekkles! My God! Confidence in execution. Fnatic starting off with a bang. Almost a double kill.
So close, but YellowStar's going to look for this. He's still hunting around behind this lane, dodges around the tower. He's not going to get it because Trashy's already back in base.
Is there some pact between top teams where when you pick Ezreal Karma, you just get aggressive and start diving people in the early game? We saw G2 do it yesterday against H2K. Fnatic showing up with it here.
But it's the punish on the Krug start in that scenario. There was no available punish from Splyce because of how Fnatic reacted off having that ward in the top side. And then Rekkles just completely dominates Wunder in that bottom side, just is able to completely take his health away. We'll take another look at it again, because Wunder's tanking the Krugs for the beginning of this. Takes a couple of hits there. You can see Big Krug deals a fair amount of damage to him before Trashy smites it away. But it's too late. It's too little too late. No flash for Wunder, and Ghost, while yes, it does obviously speed him up, isn't the kind of summoner where you can just completely dodge out a skill shot preemptively. You have to be moving the right way as it is, and Wunder just gets tagged, and that's all she wrote for that.
Fortunately, Splyce maintaining pace here in the lane swap. A small gold lead over to Fnatic overall, however, after that first blood. Rekkles and YellowStar tanking a few shots from the tower there just to make sure that they can get this as quickly as possible.
Infernal Drake is the first one that has spawned. Fnatic get the turret. It will be answered by Splyce. So do we end up in standard lanes on the bottom side? Do we continue the trend now? If we were looking for what has happened in recent times, it would be Fnatic recalling with their duo lane, sending them top now. But that forgoes the Dragon control. They wouldn't be able to have any kind of advantage from that Infernal Drake.
This is what gets really scary really quickly, because while the teams are mostly even in the lane swap, look at the difference between Spirit's farm and Trashy's farm. Taking control after Trashy had to back in that early stage, 3 buffs go over to Nidalee, and 18-6 the CS differential. And
now it's further farm as well, because Trashy, what Spirit just did to him was clear out what should be Trashy's strong side of his own jungle. So now Trashy has to overextend into the enemy jungle or over into his weak side to be able to farm. Luckily for Trashy, he was already clearing out topside jungle for himself, so that's not too much of a difficulty for him, but still makes it a little bit more treacherous for him to actually get some more farm. And you can see Spirit has to concede a little bit of farm there, just as Mikyx was there, but Spirit's just content to go over to his wolves. Nothing's going to stop him from here.
Absolutely. Just continuing to push forward here. Elise doing what she can to recoup the farm differential. Is balancing out for the most part, but now Trashy making an aggressive move into the jungle here. Wolf Spirit will spot him out. TP comes into the top side. Spirit actually looking for this fight. Trashy may have overextended. Red buff ticking down, trying to run to safety. Bot lane moving up to support Trashy, but over-eager play coming in from Splyce.
And you can see that's Trashy trying to reach there into the enemy jungle. Found Spirit, and it was a decent trade back. Forced to use his flash in that scenario. So Gamsu actually uses TP to get to the turret. Gamsu does have an experience lead as well on Wunder. It's about 1/3 to 2/3 of a level when you look at it in Gamsu's favor. And the second phase of this push is on. So Splyce typically would pull back and look for the Infernal Drake as their next priority. But look at what Fnatic are doing already. Before the tower goes down, they're already recalling. And the timing now for Splyce on that bottom tower is such that Fnatic may be able to contest.
Absolutely, and you can see just the small time differentials between these two towers dropping due to the plays happening in the jungle have given Fnatic a very large lead in terms of momentum in this game.
In fact, Trashy had to prioritize getting his own farm in the top side, and Spirit's going to try and punish him for it. Spirit actually, now that they've checked that they're not on the Dragon, Spirit knows Trashy is top side, has full confirmation of that now that the Rift Spirit will spot him out. First, Spirit was going to clear out top side jungle while they were on Dragon, and that was what they were going to trade for it. But Spirit doesn't manage to get that, just gets the crab, but now it's Fnatic that can look to at least get vision control around the first Drake of the game.
Yep. Setting down some wards, have the pink in the river, as well as control of that Infernal Dragon. But finally, Spirit going to make his first back. Able to complete up that Aether Wisp, so much faster on the early clear, and will continue to make it easy for him to deny a lot of the jungle coming out here. Everything, though, reset pretty much evenly. Bot lane, outer towers down for both sides, as well as top lane. Gnar farming very well compared to the Olaf. You can just see the tempo difference there, and bouncing the wave successfully both times for Fnatic does give a pretty decent CS lead over to Gamsu.
This is getting pretty frustrating for Trashy when you look at this. He did get a little bit more farm, but goes into the enemy jungle, plants a ward down, sees that there's nothing there. He can infer that Spirit is on the bottom side for this, but now Trashy is still looking to get any farm he can, and there's just nothing there. He can't even get anything from these counter jungle scenarios because Spirit has already cleaned it out, and now Spirit can maybe potentially with Rekkles go in and ward the bottom side jungle of Splyce if they still have vision on Trashy, who actually just recalled, so it would be a little bit of an overextend there, but they're going to be happy with the Infernal Dragon.
Absolutely happy to have that advantage. Of course, pretty much a full AP jungler combined with a scaling mid laner and bottom lane. Very powerful buff for them.
I say it might be overextending from Spirit, but he's doing it anyway right now. He's got that ward down, gets the pink ward. Doesn't have his smite up. Unfortunate. Used it on the Dragon, didn't quite have it to be able to secure the Raptors.
Still a 14 CS differential as he moves to take that red buff, but there is a lot of vision in that area, potentially a point of weakness if Splyce can get the roam down.
The problem is, Splyce can't really collapse on it. Look at where Viktor is. He's under tower right now. Olaf can't really afford to push up right now because they don't have clear vision on where the Azir is, who had just recalled. So there was no real help had they gone aggressive on Spirit being in vision. So Splyce haven't really had too many options here, but they have been able to maintain themselves a lead. We haven't looked too much at the duo lane, which transitioned into standard after both towers were taken down. Caitlyn opening up a fair lead in the CS now, 73 to 53. So if they can rally behind Kobbe, maybe nice repel.
Febiven getting aggressive here. Trashy exhaust, looks for the cocoon, but Spirit's on the way in. Gonna donate that one over, and the second kill drops for Fnatic. Gonna leave them an opening now in the mid lane. Viktor rushing back to clear these waves.
Good repel timing, but it was too little too late on his own from Trashy, and he gets picked off. And again, a lot of this is just how Trashy got put far behind early game. We've got a level 7 Spirit to level 5 Trashy in this game right now.
You can see the pink ward. You just watch his jungle disappear. Rough series yesterday, wasn't happy with his performance, and now getting honestly dominated in the jungle by Spirit right now. Not at all where he wanted to be coming into today's match. It's going to be a rough road for Splyce. As you mentioned earlier, though, the good news is that Caitlyn does have a decent CS lead on the bottom side, although now that she has to move out, it is starting to close.
You can see Ezreal, Rekkles getting time alone on the bottom side of the map, while everything else is going on mid. Is just able to continuously farm up. He's closed that gap, does have the kill as well from the early game, that initial pick-off onto Wunder, and Wunder's behind as well. I mean, look at this. He's going to have to reach up into the top lane to at least the halfway point, and he can't really afford to push too much further now that his team hasn't procured vision for him on the bottom side. That was one of the big things that Splyce were talking about. Oh, we're seeing a TP come out from Gnar, very deep behind Splyce here. He's going to try and cut them off in Tribush.
A lot of damage goes down. Rekkles hitting like a truck. Gamsu with the boomerang blade. They're going to have to run their way out of this one. Hop over the wall. Double stack on the Hyper. Chaos Storm going to stop Fnatic in their tracks. But good movement coming out. Olaf, in the meantime, though, is pushing on the top side, and Fnatic have nothing to get here.
Yeah, and that's from Fnatic showing bottom side. Obviously, Gamsu now doesn't have his teleport available. Wunder can infer there cannot be anybody top for the next 20 seconds, so he's just going to shove that back out, try and get as much farm and push as he can to try and get it to pull back in towards him in the lane. But now, recognizing the timing window has closed, he's going to back himself away. Going to look to purchase some items and then reset that again. We're in this tennis game where back and forth the lane goes, and depending on the teleports, it's really the biggest factor on whether we see action on the other side of the map.
Absolutely. Febiven and Sencux continuing to trade it out in the mid lane, both just waiting for an opportunity to shine in those team fights. Febi with that kill has to be pretty comfortable, but Sencux with the Viktor damage really just coming in huge in that last exchange.
And Sencux is actually building his Viktor fairly differently to what we've seen a lot of Viktors just in all different leagues have done. So we've seen a lot of double tier hex core into a damage item. We've also seen the perfect hex core rush into a damage item or the rallies. He's leaving his hex core at Mark 1 for now. So he's not going anywhere closer to that empowered upgrade where for the ultimate where it goes faster. He's looking for the rallies faster is what I would imagine, looking to try and get a little bit more from his laser, just that slow. So just something we don't commonly see right now.
Maybe just content to clear out the waves here.
Yep.
But opting for a potentially more damaging build, a little less utility overall.
Obviously, it's going to give him a fair amount of damage on it. It just means he won't get those augmented abilities at the same rate that you would expect when watching a lot of Viktors.
Interesting choice here. Have to see what he goes for. Potentially a Rylai's if he wants to slow down the opposition here, maybe get more control in these team fights. Just a different build path overall. We'll have to see if it pays off for him. Nash's Tooth finally finished up here for Febiven in the mid lane. Spirit and YellowStar roaming together to kind of clear out this vision. YellowStar only level 4 here, so a lot of the experience being shifted over to the rest of the team, but with Mikyx at level 6, this could be a rough fight. However, Karma, of course, not gaining a whole ton from that level 6 overall. Okay,
Sencux just pivoted, gets that Mark 2 upgrade, so still on track for getting some of the upgrades, not delaying it fully. As we can see Splyce looking to try and go aggressive in the bottom side of the jungle. They have got enough numbers down here, but Viktor is not running TP in this game, and Febi will be able to close that gap a lot faster with the position on the map he's in.
Yeah, interesting option coming in here from Sencux. Opts for the heal. Will give him a little bit more movement speed, in addition to the emergency sustain if necessary. Has opted for the Siphon power upgrade as well, though, so just maybe looking to trade a bit more effectively here in the laning phase. Looking for an engage. Febiven getting aggressive. Is he going to get the shuffle? The whiff comes out. Chaos Storm goes down. Spirit here to back him up, but not at all the trade he wanted. Good trade back, actually. Heal pops out. My God. Mid laners taking each other within an inch of death.
Heal exchange for flash, and Febi with an uncharacteristic whiff on the ultimate there. Sencux managed to get himself back away from that just in time. But a lot used by both mid laners there. Now Splyce are going to try and take advantage of that by taking themselves an Infernal Drake, which will put us at 1 apiece for these teams.
1-1 overall. Good place to be for both squads. Going to balance out the difference there overall. Elise, Nidalee, both happy to have that buff in addition to the multitude of carries on both sides here. Really just waiting for a break point in this game. Small advantages traded. Nothing major quite yet, however, as Wunder moves back into the top lane to clear out these waves.
Spirit again.
He lives here.
For the blue buff. He got the last one.
Oh, good steal coming in from
Trashy.
Trashy. Wunder on the way in. They might try to chase this Nidalee down, but Gamsu's here as well. Spirit overstepping just a little bit on that one and missing out the spite. Still has a massive CS lead here, but Trashy starting to get something back. Happy to have that jungle item at least completed.
Yeah, Trashy for now has stabilized. He's still a little behind on the experience as well. A lot of that now is because his presence in the enemy jungle depends on where top lane is when it comes to being pushed in the lane. Obviously, when it's pushed in towards him, he loses all access to the enemy jungle. Also note there's 2 pink wards in Splyce jungle that are fairly difficult for Spirit to actually take away. So in that scenario, Spirit has to be very careful of when he actually goes aggressive, and that is reducing his options on actually dominating this matchup further. We are, however, looking at Splyce grouping in the middle lane. Febi's no flash.
In chain CC, 1, 2, 3. Kobbe gonna pick up that first kill. Great coordination coming in from Splyce.
Easy pick off for Splyce when Febi doesn't have his flash available. No way he could really get out from that from a bunch of the Splyce members. They used the Nami ultimate early, get him locked down, and pick up that kill. And now they want to go aggressive into the jungle as well. Mikyx is putting down wards deep. So everybody says it's Mickey, and then the team say Mikyx when you hear their comms. But regardless of what he's called, that was a pretty good wave, plus the bubble, plus the cocoon out of Trashy.
Good chain of the CC there. Yeah, absolutely. Well, performance overall.
Mikyx. That's the one that gets me.
It's so funny because during interviews with like Mickey, I mean Mikyx, and then we talked to him at player conference. He's like, Mickey's fine. But
the key thing was he says, but I don't care.
I'm going to call him Mickey because I can reference mediocre pop songs from many generations when the opportunity is given.
Yeah. Or mice.
There you go. Sencux continuing to clear out the waves. Febiven in a similar state. Has to play a little bit safer this time around. Does still have the exhaust, but no flash to speak of here in the mid lane.
So, we're finally getting more games of Gnar, which means we're going to see something we ran into in the Challenger Series qualifiers a whole lot, and that is Gnar plus Rift Herald buff is real difficult to deal with.
If you haven't played against this, let me tell you, count yourself lucky, because this is absolutely infuriating. Reduced damage, more harass than Gnar already did normally.
That bonus magic damage, it makes it really frustrating to itemize against, because Gnar does a fair mix now with this Rift Herald buff included. Like his Hyper deals like additional damage, you got all of that additional stacking on the third hit. Now you've got magic damage coming from Rift Herald as well. It's like, oh, well, I guess I'll just get armor. Oh, wait, half of your damage you're dealing to me is now magic.
Or in this case, you can build health, and it'll just increase the damage coming in from Hyper. I mean, there's really no right option anymore, and that's where this starts to get incredibly difficult. Olaf, of course, still very powerful if given the opportunity to run rampant in a team fight, but in that one-on-one, Gnar absolutely has the edge at this stage. Trashy clearing out a bit of vision. Thinking with a cheeky bubble, maybe hoping to catch Rekkles sleeping. Doesn't work out in the end, however.
See, after we started talking pop songs, as soon as you said bubble, my brain instantly went to bubble pop.
Would you like to sing?
No, I don't think I would, actually.
Would you like to share exactly what it sounds like?
No, it's fine. I think that would be a bad thing to do in this scenario.
I think that would lower the user experience, the viewer experience.
Also, another bad thing to do would be Wunder pushing up any further, so he recalls against this Gnar. Doesn't want to get caught by Gamsu when he takes most of his health down in mini Gnar and then jumps on him and wallops him once that ultimate is gone. Wunder should be able to just run away, but it's going to cost him like popping his ult and ghost at the same time and just run down the lane and hope he can get away from Gamsu if that ever arises. But this game has slowed down fairly considerably since Fnatic. We're getting that domination in the jungle early game.
Still have a massive lead here. 40 CS differential. Trashy, though, only one level behind now. Rod of Ages coming in from Spirit, so that's a lot of scaling power in the jungle. Everything's relatively calm. Caitlyn hoping to finish out that Infinity Edge shortly. Rekkles already has the Muramana stacked up, so things going very well for the team overall thus far. Have to be careful as he sidesteps the spear there.
Kobbe's like, oh, okay. Didn't realize that was quite so close to me. He doesn't want to be in lane against Rekkles either. It's the most disheartening thing, by the way, is Caitlyn when you hear the trap pop and it's off screen and you're like, can I chase it? No, you can't.
Not quite enough range to go deep for those opportunities.
But it's obviously wise from Kobbe not to be that close. Look at the vision control that Fnatic have in the bottom side jungle. They are able to see everybody coming, and they can see Mickey out on his own, gets caught by the first spear. Does get the ward kill though. So Splyce have to be careful here. There's so many wards behind them. Gamsu has his teleport, and he's very rapidly building the Gnar as well. If there is a teleport play coming in, he will be ready for this, should he be looking for the flank. Gamsu, is he going to respond to Wunder's TP coming in? Yeah, he's coming in from the side.
Tidal Wave goes in. Gamsu ready to engage if he gets the opportunity. Wunder on the back lines. Immediate exhaust, but Gamsu, Gnar on the way, throws one more boomerang. You're not going to like it when he's angry. 3 into the wall. Knocked down. What a combo coming in from the top laner on Fnatic. Ooh. Are they going to be able to get the kills? Spear! Oh, just outside, 1 pixel away from death. Fnatic take control in the mid lane, but don't walk away with a single kill.
It's not over yet. Fnatic want to continue this push. Mikyx is trying to recall, or Mickey is at least, and Fnatic want to continue pushing for this tower. There's a Viktor on the other side. As long as Viktor doesn't step too far too close, It may still be all right for Splyce. There's a lot of health left on that tower. Spirit wants to come in from the backside. Got to be careful he doesn't get caught.
Trash taking a lot of damage. Kobbe doing what he can to disengage here. Trade of blows. Makes his way over the wall. Rock on that. Just so many low health bars. I cannot believe that a single person did not go down on either side.
Yeah, nobody died, despite both teams having the flank play come out. Wunder managed to get in from the side as well. So to put it in perspective, Gamsu did... We could see how much work Gamsu did, but if you want a number to add to that, he did like 3k damage with that combo, hitting multiple people. The flash ult into the wallop, into the Q follow-up that nearly killed Mikyx. Whew. And honestly, Gnar fits Gamsu down to a T. It's the kind of pick that has the ability to carry from having damage and has tankiness to it, that as long as he's in Mega Gnar, he is not going to be too far caught out. Mikyx,
Rekkles potentially in trouble. Ult comes out, can't cancel it, but a good sidestep. Sencux getting aggressive now. He has to be careful. Good body block from the minion.
he's out of mana.
They need Spirit coming in to heal up Rekkles. Chaos Storm looming on the edge there. Good aggressive moves coming in from the bottom lane on the side of Fnatic, and now they are poised to take down the mid lane tower.
Yeah, Fnatic is just relentlessly trying to push Wunder's top side with no teleport available, but then again, Gamsu is now recalling, so Fnatic looking to push this tower, but can Wunder get anything? He actually recalls out before even pushing up to the turret, so Fnatic get themselves the tower.
Moving in, good to have that advantage, steadily growing this gold lead. 3K now in their favor as we pass the 20-minute mark. Baron, a huge question for both teams. And our third Infernal Drake spawning in just a bit. A lot of points to fight over here on the map as Febi pushes out the mid lane.
He's going to push it out. He's got that Azir Sun Disc set up, so going to hold a little bit of possession. Or at least territory. Been watching too much football. Possession. Be interesting if you could have possession as a stat here, like possession of territory, like ward vision control as a stat. I don't think it works.
Spirit.
Like that.
He does not possess this territory. Flash over the wall. Tidal wave coming in. Is he going to be able to make it to safety? Wunder's hungry for blood. The YellowStar's going to heal him up. A hop, a skip, and a jump. And Olaf may be powerful, but he is not very mobile there in that exchange.
At that same time, though, Wunder knows that running towards a Nidalee that's going to have jump available fairly quickly with like a Karma over the wall, he's never getting that kill. So he kind of already conceded that that was not to be for him. But Gnar pushing up bottom side. Viktor's going to go and deal with it. They put Caitlyn in the middle lane for Splyce, going to try and hold back the Azir for now. And there's no real flank play available for Fnatic right now if they were to group, because they've got no teleport on Gamsu. It's due up fairly soon, but Wunder's is available as well. So they can't really punish this Caitlyn being too far up. Without YellowStar and Rekkles cutting through the jungle, they had to get rid of the vision control first, so they'll remain topside, push it all the way up to the turret, secure vision control of the top side jungle, and then cut through mid lane if Splyce push too far up.
Splyce now gearing up to push. We'll have to beware that flank, as you mentioned, however. They're pretty set to take down this tower.
Look at them cutting through the jungle. They can't quite get there in time. Karma and Ezreal back away. Fnatic are constantly trying to make this play. Yep. Always trying to cut in. And that's what Splyce said in their interview yesterday that they were struggling with, is maintaining enough vision control to allow people to push in on the side lanes and then converge back in to get picks in the jungle. That's what Trashy said in his own words while he was talking with Krepo. So Fnatic seemingly spotting that and maybe exploiting Splyce's lack of vision control. Ooh, Sencux goes in.
Goes in, a lot of damage coming through. YellowStar burns down, my God, Chaos Storm. One-man wrecking crew coming in from Sencux. Good pickup overall, but what can Splyce turn it into?
YellowStar did not use his exhaust in that setup. He pretty much knew he was already dead. Not a whole lot of point in actually utilizing that summoner from there, but Fnatic, without their support, can't really maintain vision control around this mid lane for the next little while.
Most of the Mikyx. Oh, Febiven misses the first auto, gets the second though to secure the kill. Splyce overstepped there.
And look at it, the traps were attempted to be set up by Kobbe, but didn't have it completed, didn't even have it in the right area at that point because they weren't respecting the ultimate that was coming from Rekkles, who is pretty farmed right now, even with Kobbe, but still level 13, Rekkles, that ultimate It's going to hurt if it catches somebody like a Nami without catching a lot of minions first. Spirit now trading with Sencux.
Absolutely, looking for the skirmishes here and winning out in the end. Can't really afford to 1v1 that Nidalee at this stage of the game. Simply pretty much even in terms of itemization. Of course, Viktor without that ultimate, not nearly as much of a threat. Cheers for Febiven, still coming in strong.
Whole lot of love.
I like this.
Febby. Man, that damage. Down from Febby and from Rekkles onto Mikyx.
I like the casual auto attack the wrong person into. Oh yeah, I guess
That's okay.
I guess I should take that.
Just gonna clean it up.
Yep.
Yeah. Febby was like, I'll just leave you for later.
We call this the hope builder, which is like, oh, you think I made a mistake? No. Still gets it in the end. Happy to have it now. Their sights set on this third Infernal Drake. Waiting for the fight to start, however. They'll start zoning out. Trashy moving in. Tidal Wave coming across the backside. Febiven locked up. He tries to push away. The Olaf should be unstoppable, but burns in an instant. Chaos Storm, though, makes it the trade back. Gamsu knocks Sencux to the wall. Spirit tries to get the kill. The Caitlyn trap locks him down, takes him out in the end. Splyce now descending upon Gamsu, but can they pick this one up? Ezreal, so much side damage. Flash in! Gamsu trying to turn this one around. Kobbe makes it out to safety. The coordination on both sides is stellar as they push for more. Kobbe running for his life.
Oh, he tagged him.
Slowed down. Good play from Rekkles. Double kill for the AD carry on Fnatic. Trashy running for his life, and Fnatic take control in the end.
They're going to leave this last kill attempt, or at least the run around for YellowStar. Gets cocooned. That's going to spell the end of that for now. But Fnatic, even though they lost Febiven and Rekkles was heavily chunked, it was Gamsu in the front line doing work in the fights again. Spirit was in the mix as well. So we go aggressive on to the Infernal Drake. Its Spirit smites it down. Wunder gets picked off before this fight can ever start, but Febby taken out by Sencux early on makes this fight a whole lot more difficult for Fnatic than they were anticipating. Look at Rekkles trying to run away from the Chaos Storm, took an extra hit at the end and couldn't survive, but Gamsu is so difficult to deal with here that despite crowd control landing time and time again, the wallop comes in. Gamsu stays alive for so long, and now Rekkles finally has the confidence. Hits 1Q here on Kobbe, which gets the slow, allows him to go straight forward into the fight and be able to pick him up. And from there, they're already moving out. You can see at the tail end of that fight. Yeah, business as usual for Fnatic.
Take the hands off the keyboard, wipe them clean. Get ready to dirty him again. Coach is on the screen, Yamato Cannon. Stern look of focus on his face. He knows his team is behind, but they're not out yet. Every single decision they make at this point weighted very heavily because one wrong move can cost them the game. And for Spirit, that cocoon is not going to be hit.
Once again, Gamsu, a whole lot of damage in that fight. 800 for Wunder on the Olaf, and of course it's because he died so early on. Febby.
Oh, locked up. Spirit looking for the body block. Isn't going to get it. Don't have enough damage. But as you said, that Olaf just obliterated in the last fight. The sole man on the front lines. Similar story for Trashy. Mikyx making sure that they can't get anything else, however.
It's tough to get Wunder into the fights in a situation where he can actually get onto carries. I mean, Splyce still have the damage to deal with the carries of Fnatic if they can ever get there. That's one thing Fnatic are going to make sure not to make a mistake over. Can't leave a flank open. Can't be susceptible to somebody cutting in from the side. They've been fairly good about it so far, or at least Gamsu has been enough of a threat that it actually pulls Splyce back away from the engage.
Really interesting to see. We've seen a lot of death brushes. Saw him last set, now seeing him this set. Teams just looking for these setups. All it takes is a single member to go down for that Baron to drop.
And it's something that we were talking about a little bit yesterday in the post-game lobby is we'll get this later.
Caught up. Chain CC comes down. Lots of damage. Nidalee just a little bit too tanky. Abyssal keeping her healthy.
Something we were talking about is with the range supports, it's more difficult to kind of approach a bush. Teleport's coming in through here.
Tidal Wave gonna hit 3.
Trashy's so low, as is Kobbe.
Sencux looking for the ultimate. Exhaust goes down. Good play coming in. Gamsu, he's got the ult available. Emperor's Divide not gonna be enough to stop. Looking for the lockdown here. He's going to try to chase for more. Absolute control coming in from Fnatic. Managed to pick up Mikyx, clearing out the fight, and it's low health bars for both sides.
Yeah, Gamsu's Mega Gnar is about to expire, so they need to get Spirit in there to tank, maybe swap it around here. Splyce have the opportunity. A Death Blazer here could spell a whole lot of damage onto Fnatic. They're looking for the Baron.
Kobbe not gonna get the steal. A quick secure from Fnatic. Well earned with a bloody fight beforehand.
And Fnatic managed to stabilize off, you know, this Baron has given them just, well, a significant lead right now. They had a good lead as it is. Stabilize is the wrong word. Extend their lead, I would say, is the better approach on that. So for Splyce, they've been on the back foot for the majority of the game. They're still bringing a whole lot to fight. So the problem is Gamsu and the rest of Fnatic are doing a whole lot of work. Let's take another look at the start of this. So Mikyx uses the tidal wave early to try and get the rest of the team in there. Good damage again from Sencux, but Exhaust comes out and he just runs head first into the engage from their Wunder. Again, he can't get into the backline properly. So much damage comes out from Rekkles, and that meant Splyce had to turn away. We're back into a fight.
The action never stops. Mikyx once again going down here. Tier 2 tower set to follow. Not at all what Splyce wanted. A few mistakes here and there, costing them so much. If you look back at that last fight, you had to see Mikyx, he's hitting the bubbles. He's doing what needs to be, you know, he's making things happen, but the team isn't there to follow him up. And unfortunately, sometimes he's just overstepping in these exchanges as Fnatic break through the tier 2 and look to take their first inhibitor.
But this is one of the difficult standpoints now, because Caitlyn's just going to drop 5 traps on that area there, and it's so tough to step forward. So it's going to rely on the split push aspect here, coming out from Fnatic. Febi gets tagged, and there goes the Sun Disc. But it's the other side of the map. Tower has already gone down for Fnatic. Now they're rotating topside. They've got a wave pushing in. Baron power play is going to get pretty big pretty quickly here.
Absolutely, already approaching 4K. Rekkles taking a lot of damage. Nice shield coming in from YellowStar.
Oh, look at Gamsu's position here. He's not got Mega Gnar though. Going to try and build a little bit off the ward, but...
Gearing up to siege down this tower. Febiven, Rekkles throwing out Poke. Gamsu with the boomerang blades. Spirit with the spears. Not a whole lot of opportunities for Splyce to defend. You can see Wunder peeking his head around the sides, maybe hoping to catch them sleeping, looking for those flanks, the opportunities to get into the back line. It's just not going to be enough at this stage.
Splyce don't want to overcommit though, because if they commit to a fight and Gamsu punishes their engage, then Splyce basically just lose this game. Because if they lose even like 2 or 3 members here while Fnatic have Baron buff, that's basically this game done. They push and look for game 2. So Splyce are at least playing that out fairly intelligently, maintaining just control of their inhibitor towers. Oh. This was the initial engage. So we saw Mikyx getting dropped so low and cuts through him with the True Shot barrage. So we didn't actually catch most of that the first time. But Fnatic looking to add a 4th Drake to their buff stacks.
Once again, just the icing on the cake here. Happy to have another Dragon. They keep that Baron power play up. 4.5K as we approach the end of that buff. Finally, a brief break for Splyce as that will wear off. With no inhibitors down, the game isn't over for them yet, but with an 11K gold lead on the side of Fnatic, we're at that stage, we talk about it. Time and time again, one fight can decide this game.
Yeah, it can. And Fnatic know that as well, because you look at the other side of the rift and you've got a Caitlyn, you got a Viktor. 2 picks that if you don't deal with them in the fight, they are going to punish you. So there is the opportunity. Hang on, look at the Fnatic group collapsing slightly through the jungle here. Spirit's trying to get in through the side. There are traps around there.
Zoning True Shot. Missed True Shot. So I said zoning because I thought they were.
Hang on, here comes Wunder. Teleport into the backside, looking perhaps for Spirit. He's coming all the way around for Febi here.
Waiting to use the ultimate as long as possible. Running in onto YellowStar. Can't be disabled, but he can be killed if given the opportunity. They push forward. The rest of the team locked up by the Emperor's Divide. Aggressive move in. YellowStar, is he going to drop? No, the shield. Barely taking him out to safety, and Gamsu's on the bottom lane.
It's not only Gamsu, it's also Rekkles on the top side. So Splyce use everything, and now have just lost 2 base towers in this, you know, attempted play mid lane. Wunder, without any crowd control, cannot get himself into that fight quick enough, and even YellowStar survives. It was kind of like the James Bond laser, you know, going up the inside of the trousers on the board there. They were running away from the Chaos Storm, but just narrowly managing to get themselves out of there. Man, Splyce, they're trying to force things, and they just have not been able to get anything this game.
And I'm really wondering what the priority for Olaf was supposed to do for them, because it's just been such a costly pick. The flanks have not been effective, and Fnatic have been playing around it so well. And I think a lot of that is going to be due to this Rift Herald, which is still on Gamsu 35 minutes into this game.
I mean, also Gamsu's performance just in general. Like, Gamsu has never given Wunder the opportunity to punish in any scenarios early on in the game. Also, the fact that, you know, we had the swap come out makes it difficult for Wunder to get into the game. So, honestly, this setup, I understand why they took the Olaf. It worked well for them yesterday. They were able to capitalize on it, but this game, it just has not had the same effect. Wunder hasn't been able to get to carries. He's got to get to an Azir and Ezreal. Both of them have got Karma there with her to speed him up, keep him alive.
Nidalee there to heal them up as well.
Yep.
Gamsu to threaten for that re-engage. If you do get over-aggressive, you can see just how frustrating this matchup is.
There's no tower there, so Gamsu's going to keep running until he senses somebody coming from mid. Then he backs away.
Poor Olaf.
Fair.
He still stabs Chug so happily, but we know Wunder has to be feeling sad about this lane. Did not work out as planned.
Gamsu's waiting to possibly TP mid, by the looks of it. Does have TP available. Oh, Kobbe gets chunked already.
Has to be careful here, however. Running out of rage, isn't going to have enough time to get into the fight. Febiven on the sides. Playing with fire there, has to be careful. Gamsu just going to go right back to the bottom lane and keep the push going.
Yeah, Fnatic just looking to whittle down Splyce at this point. Keep pushing in. Get a big wave top, push it in. Get a big wave bottom, push it in, and then pull back for the Baron, which is spawning in 20 seconds. It's a fairly straightforward plan from Fnatic. YellowStar has to recall to get additional wards here.
What are the opportunities at this stage for Splyce? I feel like they're just out of options with 2 inhibitors open and the Baron respawning soon.
Yeah, the problem for them is the actual setup of the fight just kind of turns around anytime Fnatic want it to. As soon as Gamsu shows up in the fights and kind of deals with the majority of Splyce, then the freedom that Rekkles gets, that Febiven gets from YellowStar being right beside them is difficult to overcome.
Fnatic now starting the Baron. Gamsu backing off in the split push, has lost the Rift Herald buff, but will be happy to trade it out for a Baron buff here as they close this one out. Trashy. That's not what you want. Spirit denied on the engage, but he's just going to flash in. Sencux trying to make something happen, but there's not enough. Zhonya's comes out to keep him safe. Febiven suddenly in trouble, trading on the back with a 1v1. Double kill for Rekkles. Wunder, is he going to be able to get anything? GA is available. 5 members ready to play cleanup here. Wunder respawns. Wunder goes down. The ace for Fnatic, and they're set to close out this first game.
Clean ace for a clean game 1 of the series. 14 kills to 4. Fnatic have had the lead pretty much from the first minute. Spirit dominated the jungle matchup and punished Trashy and the rest of Splyce for not being able to do anything early game. And it's going to transition into an easy game 1 by the looks of it for Fnatic.
39 minutes set to close out here. Some fancy footwork from the team and some amazing play from Fnatic as a whole, earning themselves the first game in this best of 2.
Fairly comfortable overall.
Absolutely.
Yes, Fnatic slowed down. That is fair to say. There were still areas that Splyce were kind of showing a little bit of bite. Some team fights that were getting close, and then, you know, Rekkles was able to turn it on at the end. But man, that beginning of the game was tough to watch if you're Trashy. I mean, Spirit ended with 6k gold more than Trashy.
That is crushing. I mean, I think the gold lead at 5 minutes is probably more telling than that gold lead. They took so many objectives and they were so far ahead, and just the slow snowball coming in from Fnatic. Splyce made some good moves, but at the end of the day, I felt like team fight execution for Fnatic was just greatly in their favor.
Yeah, they were so mobile in team fights as well. So trying to lock down the Azir, the Ezreal, these kind of picks, just getting them out of the fight makes it so tough to get that Olaf in. Sencux did a whole lot of damage that game, though. That's something you do have to look at, in that there were still areas that Splyce could maybe have fought against what Fnatic were bringing, but when it came to actually locking people down for the Viktor, for the Caitlyn to deal damage, there just wasn't that kind of support there. You had a Nami whose ultimate was used to start things off, but after that, you're like, well, I hope people walk into Gravity Field, I hope I can get a cocoon in that setup or a trap. Just unreliable crowd control that followed, and Fnatic had the complete opposite. You got the Gnar win in Mega Gnar, it's fairly easy, you got the Azir there as well.
And I feel like the chain CC that came out from Splyce when we saw that gank in the mid lane was so good. And
yeah,
honestly, Mikyx once again playing incredibly well to land those bubbles, but there wasn't anyone there to really protect the Viktor and the Caitlyn. Olaf always running in, always running ahead, very similar to what the Gnar brought to the table. The difference, no CC, and at the end of the day, when Olaf is behind, you just cut through that health bar.
And it's the same with like Elise, as she uses Cocoon, and then suddenly, well, I've not got a whole lot more to save you. I really hope there's not somebody running at you that is going to crowd control you, and unfortunately, that was the case.
Absolutely, but of course, you've heard what we have to say, so let's toss it over to Shock.